Good evening. You're flying with Pod Squadron podcast. All wings report in. This is Andy, Pod Job, standing by.
Ooh, what was that? Pod Job?
Pod Job. Give me a little hat.
Pod Job, I like that. This is Tracy, Pod Tracer, standing by.
And joining us later will be Lexi and Jason, but for now, it's just a twosome. All ships to attack formation, mission objectives, to talk about Star Wars in movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from a galaxy far, far away. Today's flight plan includes the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser and an overview of Star Wars fan films. And for all of you out there, all chem channels are open. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Find us on YouTube. Like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. But first, I'll be your squad leader today. I'm Andy Lowe, a.k.a. the Chinese Pirate. I'm a director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing is Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy. Blogger, writer, occasional cosplayer before COVID, and the one and only hot nerd girl.
And joining us later will be Lexi, who is a performance artist, aerialist, and events designer. She goes by the Feral Geek. Also from Beyond Forever Studios, as always, Jason will be joining us, a filmmaker and fan film maker and geek and collector of all things.
And why is Jason not joining us yet?
Jason is not joining us because he is avoiding all spoilers in our first topic, because Jason has booked a room. He has saved up all of his credits that none of us all have. No, wait,
and he refuses to adopt us.
He refuses to adopt us or smuggle us. You should become a smuggler and smuggle us in. But he is going, he does have book dates, so he does not want to partake in that first bit of discussion, and we'll bring him in after that, after we get into that. But we are just one squad in the fleet. We're part of the Geekish Network. That's right here on YouTube and on Facebook. There's a ton of other shows. Make sure you check out all the schedules and all the other great things right here on the Geekish Network. S foils to attack position. We're going in. First things first. So we are getting close to the end of Black History Month.
Today's the last day.
Actually, that's right. We are at the end of Black History Month.
It's not a leap year.
Not suddenly. And of course, as part of the Black History Month, we here at the Geekish Network are putting on a spotlight on different Black creators who have contributed to the geek space and all the things that we love. And we love. And tonight, we would like to mention Tomi Adeyemi. So Tomi Adeyemi is Yamai? I'm saying it wrong. She is a Nigerian-American novelist and creative writing coach. She is known for her novel, Children of Blood and Bone, the first in the legacy of the Orisha trilogy. This was published by Henry Holt Books for young readers, and it won the 2018 Andre Norton Award for Young Adult Science Fiction and Fantasy, the 2019 Waterstones Book Prize, and the 2019 Hugo Lodestar Award for Best Young Adult Book. In 2019, she was named to the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. In 2020, she was named to the Time 100 Most Influential People of 2020 in the Pioneers category. Now, her book, Children of Blood and Bone, is set for a film adaptation. It was originally to be produced by Lucasfilm, but the rights have since elapsed, over a pandemic, and the rights have been picked up by Paramount. But the book, it actually describes a rich fantasy setting inspired by West African mythology. And Lucasfilm was intended to build out this whole universe into a grand franchise. But of course, right now, it is being developed by Paramount, and we'll see what comes from that. Very excited to see what happens from this. And looks like Lexi has joined us.
Yes, I made it.
Woohoo!
Country internet is a joke, you guys.
Country internet.
So is suburban internet.
Lexi out there in the outer rim of Colorado.
Reporting from the outer rim of Colorado. It really is the outer rim of Colorado, though.
Well, speaking of the outer rim, something's happened. Tracy, so there are new exciting things happening out there regarding what?
The Galactic Star Cruiser?
The Galactic Star Cruiser.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
right.
Whew, I got it right.
So there's been a lot of buzz.
Okay.
In the.
What is the Galactic Star Cruiser, Andy?
Well,
What
okay.
is it?
For those who are not theme
The
park buffs.
Galactic Star Cruiser. This is a 2-night, 3-day experience simulating a cruise ship in space. This is from Disney Imagineering over there in Florida.
Large. Sorry.
Basically right next to the Hollywood Studios theme park, and the theme park that has Galaxy's Edge over there. It is a highly immersive and interactive experience, as guests will be asked to interact with characters and aliens, participate in story moments, visit the planet of Batuu, and try exotic foods from around the galaxy, and perhaps engage in secret missions for one of 3 factions. It is 1 part LARP, 1 part, like 5-star hotel, 1 part dinner show, 1 part escape room, and another part theme park. And it is perhaps the most ambitious themed experience project in the industry today.
Is it 3 factions or 5 factions? I thought there was 5 factions.
I mean, there could be 5 different storylines. Perhaps you saw more stuff than I saw. But as far as I could tell, there were.
I had seen 2, and I don't know if I don't think I got a chance to hear about the 3rd one.
Well, of course, the main thing here is that the embargo is over. Basically, that they have opened to the public. Disney has invited its first round of guests on board the Galactic Star Cruiser. They actually invited a lot of press to experience it firsthand, and all of the
Social
photos and
influencers,
videos have kind of basically start hitting the internet. And we've been seeing all of the buzz, and we're reacting to a lot of that today.
Do we know where in the Star Wars storyline this particular experience exists?
That's a good
Yes. So this is set at the same time as Batuu, which is right in between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. So this is sequel trilogy, and I know there's a lot of OG trilogy fans that might be grumbling about that, but I mean, the advantage of this is that they're able to have references and nods to the original trilogy as well as the prequels, and the entire lexicon of history. I think there's even references to the High Republic as well. But
Let them cover.
There was something about plants from Naboo.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which would make them really, really rare because like their home planet extinct. So
that's right. Pieces from Alderaan.
Although, so like being out here, more in the Outer Rim myself, it was just such a really lovely in the video that we saw. I'll say that we saw this wonderful atrium, and I went. The production designer and me went, great use of a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Yes, our biosim, or what was it? It was
if it's a cloudy day on Batuu, it'll be cloudy here.
Yes.
If it's a sunny day on Batuu, it'll be sunny here.
It was so good. I would spend so much of my time in that greenhouse. I really would.
So the main thrust of the story of this is that the Chandrila Starliners are welcoming guests aboard the Halcyon Star Cruiser. Now, this is a ship built thousands of years ago on Corellia. The ship has a storied past of many distinguished passengers who have journeyed on the luxury freighter, but with
275 years. Not 1,000. 275 years.
Oh, I thought it has a history that goes back to the High Republic. Doesn't it?
I thought it was just the navigation. Wasn't that the navigation?
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Which is basically like, I guess, the equivalent of having like a tricked out modern cruise ship with like this really beautiful old like compass and sextant.
Compass,
like,
yeah.
Yes, the captain prefers this. And because it's historic, yeah.
And that's kind of the fun thing too, because I mean, there's definitely a lot of homage. I mean, when you think if you've ever toured the Queen Mary, or any other kind of, like there's great history to the Queen Mary of how it served as a medical frigate during World War II efforts, and all of these ships go through various reuses and various lives.
And so parts of them are, like the captain, like, will keep some of the antique parts and then update some of the others. And that I hadn't thought about that, but that's a really cool little portal into the history.
So this, of course, you are a guest on board this passenger ship. But of course, during this timeline, the ongoing conflict between the Resistance and the First Order is reaching a fever pitch, and your mere vacation takes on a new stakes when everyone must choose a side, and there's possibilities of a Resistance incursion, and all hell breaks loose, basically. Hilarity ensues.
So what we're seeing is basically like a soft launch, like a press launch. So when is it officially launching? When is Jason going to be able to go and
it is open
there?
It is actually open. So it opened it opens basically tomorrow, I think, is the official date of opening. So all of the press embargo being released is basically, from the press previews, because they've been doing play tests for the last.
They went a while ago.
Yeah.
And so this is retroactively posted.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So, it is interesting that, what we're seeing video and photos of are basically previews, but they've been working on this, and they've been taking guests both internally and externally for a few months. It
felt like just a little bit that I saw kind of also gave me like space murder mystery dinner vibes.
Yeah, totally. It's pretty, like I was saying before, it's a very ambitious project. I'm very intrigued. However, I gotta say, I still cringe at the price point.
I do too. I do too, because I'm looking at two events that I think. Okay, so one of the things that kind of struck me as somebody who has different sensory issues, like neurodivergent, has sensory issues and is very nerdy and enjoys all the nerdy stuff, but has these sensory issues. And one of the vloggers was describing it as like a little bit overwhelming. And I could kind of see that even before they said that. And so my whole thing was that price point to be overwhelmed. And I know that this is not true for every neurodivergent person, but a big calming point. That's why I was like, oh, I'd be in that like climate simulator all the time, is like, go touch nature. And I'm thinking, man, I could go to 2 festivals in Colorado within a 4-month span and spend less than I would on this Disney outing, even if I still lived in California, like even with cutting out the travel costs. I'm like, oh man, wow.
You know what's so crazy about it too is that
not be overwhelmed. That's the key.
So the rooms will fit 5 people. Like there's a 2-person like queen or king size bed. There's 2 bunk beds, and then there's me too, totally. And then there's a fold down bed. So you'd think, okay, between the 5 of us, like we could split the cost, but it's per person.
Well, it's not. It's not really okay. So the way the price point begins with a party of 2 for a 2-person cabin for $4,800. Okay, so you break that down. That's about $700. What is that? That's about $1,200 per person per night. That is a lot. If the lowest you could probably get it down.
And the alcohol's not included.
The lowest you could probably get it down.
They're charging me this much, but are they paying their performers like $40 an hour? Because unless they're paying their performers $40 an hour, I'm not interested.
So the lowest that you could get it down to is for a group of 4 for a cabin of 4 for $6,000. So that kind of gets it down to about $700 per night. Again, this is a 2-night, 3-day experience. This does include 1 half-day entrance into the Hollywood Studios Park.
A half a day, not even a whole day?
Well, I mean, because there is so much. If you look at that, when you look at that itinerary, it is jam-packed, and there are so many other experiences that are part of this ongoing experience. And when you do the math, it's like I kind of get it, because it is, as you mentioned, Lexi, it's the performers, it is the crew.
Well, yeah, but my question is, are they paying the performers and not that $15 an hour bullshit? You know what I mean?
Because these are not $15 an hour performers at all. These are likely I
just know some of the princesses in the past have started at that point, and I really hope that these folk get
well, this is very different, right? Because the princesses are not actually performers. The princesses are classified non-union face character performers, right?
Yeah.
So that's a non-union actor.
That's true.
These would be probably union equity performer.
Hope so. I really hope
improv performers, and they're actually, they're called for a full day of performance, right? Because they are trying to maintain this idea that people are trapped on the ship with them.
I'm just saying, I hope that high price point, I hope that a lot of it goes to the staff personally, just as scanners, that being the whole thing.
I've never been on a cruise, but I have a friend who was a performer on cruise ships.
And I know they're not paid well.
What?
I said I have too, and I know they're not paid very well, which is why I was like, oh God, Disney do better.
Right. But that's not my point in this one. It's they have to stay on board, right? So do these performers have to spend those 2 nights there so that they're the consistent performers all through? So they almost do like shifts between, and then when the next group of people come in, then it's a different group of actors.
And they have dorms.
So my guess would be that the performers are probably doing an 8-hour day, and wherever that 8 hours, falls with like a 1 hour lunch, it's like if they are not on site, or invisible sight, then they are in their cabin, quote unquote, right?
But it's not like say that they have 3 different people who play the captain. They can't switch who plays the captain halfway through somebody's experience.
It's not like the lounge singer who has like a full face mask on, where they could switch her out more easily and not have people notice. But it's like, yeah, exactly, the face characters. I would wonder, all right, okay, if anybody knows anybody who works at this and the NDA allows you to talk about just your shifts, like, we want to know, man. We want to know, how do you do this? Do you all overnight it? Like, do you guys have little like dorm stuff? We want to know.
I would imagine that ultimately it's, if you are with this cruise, then you are the captain through that whole cruise for those 3 days. And it's just an 8-hour commitment for those 3 days, and then they probably switch up. Right. So then when they bring in the next group of passengers, they give that person a day off, and then they have someone else be the captain or whatnot. But however, with like the any of the masked characters like stormtroopers or the musician who has the full animated puppet mask, the Rhodian, I would imagine that character can probably be very easily swapped out.
Yeah.
Well, having worked with touring, company type things, it's like you might as well just have the same group and just swatch it out.
Exactly. Instead of having people clock in and clock out and then do makeup, and then people are going to get in and out of makeup, but then you have people like leaving, going on site and off site. And I get what you're saying, Tracy. It would be really cool if they had the same cast kind of bunk there, and they're like, because like I know people who are, I know this is a completely different job, but like union security guards, I know someone who did that gig, and they had like a 21 hour shift essentially, where they had to be like on site for 21 hours. So you know what, if they can do that, then and these actors are more highly paid, then maybe they can do that. That would be kind of cool. I would love to hear stories from them.
I think they must be more highly paid, to Andy's point, because if you watch the experiences that the one we watched was called like Ordinary Adventures or something like that. And it was like the first of 3 and each one's like an hour long or something.
No, I only got to watch the first part, but I loved it.
But some of the experiences that they're going through is that you download an app to your phone, you're getting missions on your phone, there's things in the wall, you can go, some people can go to the engineering room and other people can't, some people can run after that guy and some people can't, so depending on like what mission you're on, you're flipping things in the engine room. You're maybe in the brig for, the stormtrooper brig. You're doing all these really kind of amazing things that are very interactive. And even if other people are going on missions first and you feel like you're not getting any missions, the next thing you know, the captain's like, so what do you want to see on Batuu? Oh, really? Watch your pad.
Right? It's almost like real life spawn points for quests, which seems very intriguing.
So it's basically using the same data pad. In fact, if you have been to Batuu or Galaxy's Edge, you can download this right now. It's basically the Star Wars data pad, and it's activated on the Disney Play app. And the Disney Play app has a lot of different activities around the park. It can activate the fortune tellers. It can you can do trivia, Disney Park trivia while you're in line. It will, there are other games in some of the other queues. But in Galaxy's Edge, it turns into the data pad, and you can do a lot of the same kind of things where you're hacking doorways or computer consoles, you're listening in on communications, you can scan containers, and it's really very much a build out of kind of what they started with that.
I missed that fact. Is it on your smartphone or is that on a device?
Yeah.
The collector. Okay.
It will be on your smartphone for these press things that we're seeing. It was on. They were handing people cell phones that they would not.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring. That's what I was trying to figure out. Because I also thought, well, maybe they don't want, people taking photos of other guests or things like that. So maybe
it's basically they were just trying to get people to disconnect from the internet for the 3
hey,
days.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things that I really loved. And I mean, my goal was if I ever got some kind of comp pass, sponsored pass, or someone was like, I'll help you pay for it or something, that I would go and I would be like, can I be a double agent and steal one of those, steal one of those mugs and a bathrobe undetected? That's my goal. Double agent walks out with a mug and a bathrobe. Hey, yeah.
Well, so the other thing too, right, of course, is that all of this technology that they're employing, it's also making use of, if you've been to Disney World, you know that they use magic bands, which
Thank you. That's what I've been trying to say for 5 minutes.
I know, I'm hitting you up on that. Which it does is basically, instead of park tickets, they have a magic band which has an RFID chip and therefore can scan. And basically, also for the purposes of this, it will track your progress and your game progress as you kind of go through the story.
My event production side is that's so cool and efficient and would give you so much information on here. And the cynic in me goes, no, Westworld on your wrist.
Well, I mean, this is Westworld, right? This is about living out your Star Wars adventure.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I was like, Westworld on your wrist. There it is. It's like that. It's even that little circle diagram that they kind of have for the maze in Westworld. Mm-hmm.
Which is on everything. It's that little circle with the 2 bars through it. They have a branded lightsaber in the gift shop.
The towels, the gift to the hand towels.
The towels. It's not on the robes because they figure people will steal them.
I would do it anyway.
But I mean, it is. It's a very consistent theme throughout. The design is very Star Cruisery Star Wars. It looks like some kind of long haul.
Yeah, it feels very much like, when the First Order or Empire or whoever the power that be retrofits all of the manufacturing plants on Coruscant, and they're like, here, build us a luxury. And and it seems very complete in that kind of picture.
The rooms seem very cramped to me. I'm gonna say big for a cruise ship, seafaring cruise ship, but small for a hotel and a little claustrophobic.
What impressed me, I will tell you, is that even though it did seem, I was like, well, damn, they're leaning into this cruise ship thing and really putting a premium on space, like you said, Tracy. The other thing that did pleasantly surprise me was all of the little usable amenities that were tucked away into that tiny, tiny space. It was like a little clown car of amenities where they showed you this tiny room with the beds, and then they pan around and they're like, 2 more beds. Whoop, Murphy bed comes out of the wall. Oh, look at these face masks. Oh, look at this. And I was like, all right. The tiny house lover in me appreciated it.
Me too. Well, and that's the thing too, where it's kind of like, I mean, is this commitment to theme, or is this space saving? Right.
Both.
You know what they what they didn't show. What they didn't show in the video we watched, but they showed in another video, was that because these are windowless rooms. So, so my first thought was for safety and what's the safety protocol. And one of the things that they have kind of near this window that shows this, there's a window in there that has like this sort of like out into space, but they have this sort of emergency hatch, almost like you would see on a plane, which I thought would go to like a centralized staircase. It does not. It goes to a little tiny safe room where you're supposed to use your phone to call the authorities and give them the code on your door so that they're supposed to know where to find you. And the claustrophobic in me is going,
the belligerent fucking me is going, I hate that.
Wait,
I want to run somewhere.
Is it a real safe room or is it a in-story safe room?
Well, I mean, you can't lock it from the inside. So I don't think, like, if somebody were to break in, if they knew that there was an emergency door there, which it says emergency and has a handle on it, but and I don't know if it opens without there actually being an emergency. I don't know.
Wait. But, so is it for you to hide if there's like a real like active shooter in the building?
Well, it seemed to me like
for
if
you
there
to hide from a stormtrooper?
It seemed okay. So what it was presented to me was like, hey, if there's a fire and you can't get out, hide in this room. And I'm like, is it a fireproof room? Like what?
That doesn't sound right.
Do they have a heavy-duty HEPA filters and everything?
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
It seemed a little odd. I'm just gonna
that to me sounds like that might be in story, but I hadn't seen that.
It is definitely roomier than a bunk on a Navy ship. That is for darn sure.
Yeah, we actually I did see a video of someone who was basically saying that you can fit a 6-foot person in the bunk. So
yeah,
I remember. Yeah, the guy was like, I think he was like 5'10", and he said if I was 1.5 feet taller, I'd have to have my knees up. And I was like, well, then I'd definitely take the bunk. And I like having something up against my back, so I'd make it a damn little nest. I'd pillow nest in there. People would be like, is there a Loth cat living in here?
So let's talk about the main atrium, like so the area where you first enter on board the ship. What did you guys think of that area?
It's very Spartan. It's got a little bit of like an Art Deco vibe, but meets just like a hospital meets Art Deco.
Production designer and me went, well, that's easy to clean. I don't know if we got it in any of the any of the videos. We did not get a chance to watch because I only had the opportunity to watch part 1 of that. But the big figure that was like projected in lights in the center in that kind of tube. I was trying to figure out what that was. And
you're talking about the atrium, right?
Yeah,
like the main central, like where you.
Yeah, that was like a preview of the performers and like what's gonna come up. Like it was things that were available in the show. We didn't even talk about the food and the fact that there was like this ham bread thing that looked like a vagina.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we haven't even gotten to the food decks yet, but like
I know.
But okay, so we're starting with the atrium, right? So the atrium, of course, is like it's big, grand room. It also seems to be the main place where all of the major story points are, like
that haunted mansion elevator.
Well, the atrium?
No, I mean like it serves that function where they're like, this is what's going to happen to you, you know?
Well, I mean, it's like the main gathering space. It would be like the ballroom of a real
of a cruise ship. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So it seems to be like the main gathering space where they do all of the. They also have an interesting. I saw a clip, where they brief you before you go on board, and they kind of explain to you what you're about to do, and it's kind of you're still not in game yet, so to speak. But what was also interesting was that hearing them give you a sample of here is the alarm system if there is a real emergency. And
I noticed that.
And then here is the alarm if it's an in-world,
And the director and we really appreciated that, the distinction, because I noticed that there's a real emergency is literally just almost exclusively cold fluorescence in every single thing where it's like, okay, no show, no game, no fun. We're done. This is real.
Even the costume characters are like, peace.
Yeah, where it's like you have, but the cold visual difference between all of this ambient lighting that they're switching between, and then B, the functionality of, okay, all of these LEDs are on, you can see everything, so you can get the fuck out. Like,
so speaking of this, you know, I'm also just really fascinated just from some of the clips that we've seen, is just in terms of the structure of it, right? I mean, just as a director myself too, it's just kind of like the logistics behind this of how interactives and live performers, you know, and of course the RFIDs, the technology, allow them to kind of pick out who has chosen to be a resistance fighter, who has chosen to be a smuggler, who has you know, chosen to be a loyalist and, you know, rat people out because they're loyal to the First Order, and it literally is. I know, like Lexi was talking about, you know, the chaos of it all, but it is because literally there is a story point or something happening, like every, you know, at every like juncture point. Like if you look at the structure of the thing, you know, they have dedicated times for meals, and then there are activity moments when you might choose one of 3 different activities to do, whether it's a tour or bridge training. They have it built in where, of course,
as long as the activities don't start before 10 a.m., good.
Oh, I hear that, because even if I'm awake, my brain's not functioning.
And of course, you know, the things that you participate in might be different depending on which allegiance you take on. So if you are a resistance person, you might hack your way into the engine room. If you are a smuggler, you might help smuggle hero characters into the ship, right? You know, you kind of discover different things along the way. How spoilery are we getting?
It gives me Renaissance Fair vibes in the, like, on steroids, but in the best way.
Yeah.
You know, where you're like,
it is like, it's like, it is LARPing.
Right? Where you're like walking through and you see that, like, the Queen's procession, or you could walk up on a blacksmith, you know, and like but space, and like, yeah, the dining room, reminded me of fancy spaceship themed Vegas buffet, and in the best way. Like, I wanted to go there.
Well, you know, and that's the cool thing about the food. I mean, they do have more exotic things. Like there's been a lot of coverage on the photos of the blue shrimp, you know, which is very fun. But also, there's just a lot of very clever, like, reformatting of things we know, right? Like they have a different name for what is essentially a
grilled cheese,
a grilled cheese sandwich with tomato soup, but it, you know, they call it, you know, red fruit puree with, you know,
which I love, because it's like a really subtle nod to the fact that, like, tomato's a fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, as somebody who's allergic to blueberries, he mentioned, he was like, we don't know what's in this stuff, and then he like went into something and he was like, I think this is blueberry, and I was like, how do you know? Like,
oh no, yeah. Yeah,
what was it?
If I spend $4,000 and I get food poisoning from eating blueberries and they didn't tell me, I'm gonna
better be a
pissed.
crew member around to ask about allergies in that dining room, is all I'm saying.
But you are supposed to stay in character the whole time, is the vibe that I got. Because when the people in the video were kind of getting out of character, they were like, "Oh, we're supposed to be in character."
I would love that, because then I would be like, "Excuse me, I have a lot of different allergies to things from different planets. What's in this? I might explode. You have a hell of a cleanup job on your hands."
That was
one of the nice things about Disney food in general is that if you have any kind of allergies, they always send the chef out. Disney is really good about that. So I can't imagine it's that much
one
different.
of the things that struck me too in the video was the workers were so in character, where they're even asking the vloggers, like, where can I watch this? Or like, what is this? What is this? And she's like, oh, it's a hologram. What is it?
On
it's like
YouTube. She goes, what's on this earth?
or whatever, you know? And it was like, oh, that's so cool.
I loved that, Rodney. No, I loved, because they were like, oh yeah, it's on it. Even they went so far as to be like, yeah, it's on it. It's on an Earth broadcast called YouTube. And she goes, how do I access it? like it's a network. She's like, oh, new tech from another planet. How do I access that? Can I, like, is that interface with the tech I have? It's so cute. It was so good.
It's also just really fascinating how everything is incorporated, right? Like even your port day, you basically get on a bus, but they've, you know, make it seem like you're on a you know, docking ship that goes down to the planet. And then of course you have additional missions that play out. If you're a resistance, if you're working with the resistance, you're helping them seek out coaxium fuel that will go back to, that you're smuggling aboard the Starliner, which then ties in with the Millennium Falcon ride, which you go and you steal coaxium with Hondo Ohnaka, or I think of course the resistant Rise of the Resistance ride is tied in as well. So it's
do you get front of the line passes for the Star Wars ride?
I believe so. That they give you a pin depending on, or they give you a pin that identifies you as one of the Starliner guests, and of course I'm sure that you're also in more cosplay than regular guests. So they kind of send a special line for.
Are adults allowed to wear the cosplay? Because there was a lot of people like in full on cosplay.
From what I noticed, based on the fact that one of the vloggers was like, I was starting to approach someone I thought was a character actor, and it turns out that it was a guest in True Life cosplay.
Because normally adults are not allowed to wear. That's why we have Disney bounding, right? Because adults aren't usually allowed to wear costumes in the park. But if you're part of this immersive experience,
that's kind of what I did tonight. Because I was like, I'm gonna Disney bound my Sith.
I'll tell you what. If you go over to Disneyland right now, if you go over to Galaxy's Edge here in Anaheim, there are a lot of people that are living their dream right now. Like they have relaxed that quite a bit.
So speaking of also living the dream and this particular thing, one of the aspects that I noticed that just made me very happy was that the vloggers pointed out an accessibility point that appeared, from what I could see on the video, to be set slightly out of the way of foot traffic for people with mobility assistance with electrical powered mobility assistance to charge their vehicles, and that it wasn't just limited to rooms. Or that was really lovely to see it not put in a main area or kind of shuttled away somewhere so far that it's out of sight, out of mind, and it's hard for. Because I noticed that when I see charging ports for electric mobility devices, that I either see them or I don't see them. I don't see them, not at all, because they're so hidden or inaccessible or so hard to find that the person's going to have to search, or that they're in the way and that they make the person kind of put themselves in the path of traffic. And it seemed like they didn't do that with this, which I think is just like
very thoughtful.
Really made me happy, because I think that should be par for the course. I think that should be par for the course. I think it's beautiful to encourage that standard at such a big park.
Yeah, I mean, and of course Disney is, they have been very much trying to lead the way in terms of their inclusiveness, right? Anyways, I think we do need to kind of move on. There's still so much we could talk about. We haven't talked about a lot of things, about various story points. We haven't talked about the command bridge. We haven't talked about the engineering deck. We talked a little bit about the climate simulator, but there's also a cargo hold.
You were going to say vagina ham rolls.
There's also the bar, the sublight lounge. Like all of the drinks look very like handcrafted. Some high level mixology. Everything looks like they've gone to great lengths to be very detailed,
which they should for the price.
Absolutely, guys.
And I will say I have seen video footage of the finale of the climax. Actually, well, there are two climax moments.
Did it involve vagina rolls?
It did not involve vagina rolls, but I gotta say the finale is pretty impressive as well, in terms of how they deliver on what should happen in a Star Wars adventure. So yeah.
Is there a robot that says bye-bye, 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 bye-bye as
Actually,
they leave?
did you guys see the footage of the concierge? You have your own personal droid concierge in your room, which is essentially an onboard Alexa in every room that has a little video droid, and it both keeps track of your itinerary and all the activities that you are signed up to do, but it also lets you know about like story points, or like helps you kind of go, okay, if you lose track of where you're supposed to go or what secret informant you're supposed to go meet, it will remind you.
Oh, cool. Like a little quest log, baby.
Yeah.
Like The Good Place. Anyway.
Anyways,
Janet, you got your own Janet. Full Janet.
any last thoughts before we move on?
We digress. We're not leaving much time for Jason to join in and talk about fan films. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it, you guys. Come on.
Jason in today. We need to have Jason.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Jason.
Jason.
What's up, guys?
Oh, your background's good as per usual. I always am like, what's he gonna come on with? Where's he
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be?
I had this last couple weeks ago. It's from a really, really old short that I made.
I'd seen it before, but I love it when it reappears.
Yes.
I also love the one with the looking over the shoulder meme, the cheating guy.
Oh yeah, that was my go-to during the dark times, which is still here, but I use that one the most.
So really quickly, Jason, before we move on completely from this topic, when are you booked to go on yours?
I'm going at the end of July, the last
end of
week.
July. All right, then. Well, you will definitely have to tell us about your experience and what you all experience.
Be a double agent. Steal a mug.
My wife and I are going to Comic-Con, and then we come back for a day, and then we immediately go to Florida. So that's kind of like our big summer trip thing. So I mean, if Comic-Con happens, which it kind of seems like it's going to, but we'll see.
Probably is.
Yeah.
I have to decide what I want to do about that and celebration.
that for sure is happening. So yeah, but
Not there to decide.
I'll be in
celebration
too. So, but yeah.
Oh, Lexi.
Well, let's get on to our next topic. So, our next topic are talking about Star Wars fan films. So, of course, right now the Book of Boba Fett is over. We are now in a bit of a lull as we wait for the release of Obi-Wan or the next round of Star Wars content. But in the meantime, we thought we'd kind of focus in on some of the fan-generated content that is out there for anyone looking for something new or something a little different or an alternative perspective. So let's go on our little jaunt. Tracy, you want to talk about what you took a look at?
Sure. So I watched a fan film called Darth Maul Apprentice, and I wasn't 100% sure what the assignment was. So what I did was, as I watched it, I basically kept a running log of my notes, right? We all know who Darth Maul is. He's the apprentice of, you can only have one apprentice. The Emperor's apprentice is Darth Maul. Anyway, so I'm just going to read what I wrote. All right. It opens with Darth Maul standing in a bubble of holographic screens while the Emperor talks about how they've waited for 1,000 years to take revenge for the annihilation of their people by the Jedi. All of a sudden, a ship with a giant Hal eye shows up, setting off all the alarms. Jedi Man Bun walks through the forest and takes a boot to the nuts right before he's killed by Maul. Maul looks like he's trying to remember if he left the stove on. Meanwhile, Diet Obi-Wan and Rey Light yell out and jump down the hill to confront Maul. Only to be joined by Italian monk Jedi, superhero landing Bane, and Togruta. Maul's like, oh. Maul's like, oh, sweet son of children, and dramatically lets the double saber like we don't already know it's there. So then Diet Obi-Wan that Rey Light can fend for herself. He should have been more concerned about Togruta because she knows she's fucked because she's whispers we shouldn't have come here and is the first to go about 30 seconds later. Italian monk takes a saber swipe right to the face during one of his jump twirly thingies and is the second to go. So
Wait,
then
is Italian monk the guy who has the scorpion mask?
No, that's Bane.
That's Bane.
Yeah,
you call him Bane.
So,
okay, cool.
There's
my
the
money
Italian monk because he looks like Diet Obi-Wan's grandpa.
Right.
But he's like Italian. He's like this Italian kid with like these monk robes on, and he's like, bing, bing, bing.
He's like,
and then he's like,
yeah.
And then like Maul like does one swipe to the face, and he's like, oh, I'm down. Okay, so then my money is on Bane being the third one to go because I can tell that Diet Obi-Wan and Rey Light are going to be like the last people standing. So then Bane kicks, right? So then Bane kicks Maul in the hip, and Maul is like pissed because it's like his favorite hip or something. So then Diet Obi-Wan takes off his robe. He's like, bitch, whatever. Because in his mind, he's a super badass. Maul's like, whatever, bruh, and taps his Apple Watch a few times. And then this doesn't seem to alarm the baby Jedis. I don't know why. He's like going like this. So then Diet Obi-Wan gets all cocky, thinking that they've won, but then some flying ball blasters show up and create a diversion, which allow Maul to reset. And then Bane force summons a dead Jedi's lightsaber and starts double fisting it. But as I suspected, he's the next one to go down after getting speared right through the chesticle. So then Rey Light wants to peace out, but Diet Obi-Wan's like, nah, girl, trust me. Because that's really worked for them so far.
Little Rey had the right instincts, man.
Right? So then Diet Obi-Wan tells Maul he's figured out his fighting style and grazes Maul's arm, and Maul decides he needs a Band-Aid and runs off. So Rey Light is like, hey, can we leave now? Because everyone else is dead. And Diet Obi-Wan's like, ha, nope. Turns out Rey Light is his apprentice and not a chick he wants to bang. Totally thought he was just a chick.
I call it both. Sorry.
Probably, right? That's like some power.
Well, like anyway. not every Padawan is child aged, right? Like,
so then they're running through the woods, perilously close to each other with both their lightsabers out. I mean, one trip and they're both like, right? And I feel like OSHA would really disapprove of this. Anyway, they allow themselves to be trapped in the same gully that you see in like every single fantasy picture. And then this leads Diet Obi-Wan to getting stabbed in the balls, which leaves Rey Light having a panic attack over in the corner. And then, oh shit, Bane's not dead after all. Oh wait, just kidding, now he is. Cut to Rey leaving Bane to die and running for her life, only to trip on air, which I can't fault her for because that's something I would do, absolutely 100%. So then she's like in the middle.
Okay, so we got 5 minutes left. So...
okay. Oh, okay. I'm almost done. Okay. So then so she's right in front of this building and she can feel Maul behind her. So she recovers and grows some balls super fast because no one else is left to die besides her. And then Maul does his favorite move, which is like the pacing back and forth while he's waiting to kill somebody. Right. And then they fight and they force push each other until they both fall down. And then Maul looks like he wants to make out with her. And then Rey Light sees Hal flying up. Right. And then Hal cock blocks Maul and he's pissed about it. So then he just kills her. And then you see Daddy Emperor Hologram showing up behind Maul and he's like, you're a very good boy, son. Turns out that this was his final test and Maul passed and he's now a Sith.
And so honestly, it kind of set up for me that whole Maul going rogue storyline in the animated stuff later. Where he like had this moment of conflict where he's like, wow, they fight for each other harder than anybody who's ever taught me has fought for me.
So this is Darth Maul Apprentice. You can find this on YouTube.
It was delightful.
Okay, we've got 6 minutes, and Lexi and Jason and I all have to talk about each of ours. So Jason, tell us about the battlefield.
Battlefield, this one right here. Yes. Basically, I don't have a good, huge synopsis to give, but I mean, basically, it's there's a rookie stormtrooper who's like running through the battlefield and he jumps into a little trench there with this other guy. And then basically they just converse about everything that's going on. It's a comedy. And, they're going like, oh, how come there's this scrawny blonde dude with a lightsaber that's taking everybody out? He's like, I can take them. And he's like, no, don't fuck it. He's like, it's only the blue one. He's like, you don't want to see when they have the green one out. There's just all these little bits going on.
They use that grizzled vet, fresh cadet dynamic to maximum effect. The writing is tight, the directing is tight.
It reminded me a lot of Mando, when like Sudeikis was doing the bike trooper, in that kind of voice. For a minute I thought it was him. And but it's actually it's really funny. And then the gruff one shoots him in the leg.
And this is all just it's just using Battlefield, right? It's just programming.
And it's all done. They did it all with the Unreal Engine, apparently. The entire 5 minutes.
The timeline that's implied and everything, and the description of the Jedi says like, shit, maybe it's Luke or something, because
that's like, my guess,
right? Because he's like, it's a skinny little kid with a blonde mop of hair, like he looks like he'd cry if you whipped him with a towel or something like that. And I'm like, all right, well, like if you didn't know anything, like if Mark Hamill as Luke wasn't an icon, you'd probably think he was a wimpy little kid who'd cry for his mama. and that's kind of what they went for.
No, it was a fun little short and great little bits. And like the whole, like, hey, what are we going to do now? Well, we're waiting for orders. Well, shouldn't we find someone to get the orders? It's like, no, we're staying right here. And so, and I just thought that was great. So
I hate to be that person who quotes Hamilton during a
do it.
Dying is easy, young man. Living is harder.
Yeah. And that's what he does. He's like, I just saved your life. He shoots him in the leg. He's like, here's the story. He's like, I had to give you first aid and we're gonna wait for orders. And then that's how the whole thing ends. And it's really, it's a fun little short. It's already got like 3 million views and it came out like 3 weeks ago.
I love.
So this is the Battlefield. It's a Star Wars fan film made with Unreal 5. You can find it on YouTube.
Yes.
Lexi, tell us about Shadow of the Republic.
Shadow of the Republic. That was the Vader one, yeah or no? Hold up, I watched all of them and I'm confusing the names. Give me the topic and I'll get you the right storyline.
Shadow of the Republic. This is a motion performance CGI film. It's a love letter to the game Star Wars Republic Commandos.
Oh, right. Okay, no,
film.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you. No, okay. So that one, the visuals reminded me a lot of like Halo for some reason. I don't know. And that was the one that I was interesting enough, like least clear on the storyline, except that it seemed to be the main thematic elements seemed to be some similar things that we had seen in like the Bad Batch, where they are called in to do an Empire mission. They're told that they're going to have one mission, and then someone comes in, and somebody in like the team commander, like Crosshair, for example, is ordered to have some kind of kill directive. And for example, like they're ordered to save a senator. They're like, oh yeah, you got to extract this senator. But the team lead gets the order to terminate the senator. And so it's kind of left as a point for the members of the squad, as far as I remember, to kind of question what they're doing.
This is during the is this during Galactic Civil War, or is this during
I believe
the prequel
so. I'm trying to
period. Are they clone troopers, or are they?
I believe they are, because at the beginning it said if these droids are dressed as or disguised as clone troopers, they aren't your brothers.
Got it. Okay.
So that led me to believe that it was clone troopers. So I didn't get to watch this one more than twice, and so I was like very caught up in the graphics and the look of it, which I was like, wow, this looks like very like modern video game. It was really beautiful aesthetically, and I liked sort of that. It really did remind me of the Bad Batch episode where they're called in on Saw Gerrera's position and they're told to eliminate every single terrorist, and then they look at the situation and they go, there's children here, there's nothing but children here, there's nothing but civs here. And so they find the senator, and their first in command has been given the private order to execute him. So I thought that was very interesting as a look into a less comedic look than Battlefield, obviously, into the inner experiences of a trooper, whether they're clone or stormtrooper.
Excellent. Okay, so that is Shadow of the Republic, also available on YouTube. And then the last film that we're looking at is Kenobi, a Star Wars fan film. Now, this was created by Jamie Costa. Jamie Costa, if you don't know him, he is an actor and impressionist. He actually did a fan film based on Han Solo, or where he played Han Solo and does a great Harrison Ford impersonation. He did that back in 2017, but in 2019 he went with this Kenobi film, which is basically the present premise is what you expect. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi with a very young Luke as he's protecting him on Tatooine. And basically there is a garrison of stormtroopers and an Imperial commander who come and question Beru and Lars. And of course, Obi-Wan kind of risks his own reveal as a Jedi to basically take out all of these troopers and the commander before Luke is put under scrutiny. It's very well done, very well produced. I believe they actually also managed to hire James Arnold Taylor, who was the voice of Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, to play the main villain, the Imperial commander, which is very fun. If you haven't heard of Jamie Costa, also, you should definitely look up his stuff. He also did a mind-blowing Robin Williams biopic, where it was maybe about 5 or 6 minutes,
fantastic.
and it dropped me into tears. In part because his Robin Williams impersonation is just like fantastic, and it is heartbreaking because he's got like physical nuance as well as vocal nuance. He's got things like the way Robin Williams kind of twists his face up when he gets extremely emotional. It is a fantastic little film based on the moment when Robin Williams finds out that John Belushi has died of an overdose at the party that he was at the previous night. And of course, like, it is implied it's the moment that he makes a choice to kind of to go sober. It is an amazing little fan film in tribute to Robin Williams. I highly recommend that, as well as this Kenobi fan film. So please do go check that out.
Send me that, because it's very rare that somebody can do a genuine Robin Williams, because Robin Williams was kind of like the ultimate Pagliacci.
I mean, he is able to match kind of his speed, just the quick, the pace, the cadence, the way he jumps from beat to beat to beat to beat and is committed with each moment. It is phenomenal. I mean, it's kind of a thing where I'm like, come on,
somebody give
the man a budget. Give the man a budget. But
A, give that man a budget. B, give that man support, because if you can identify with Robin Williams, then he's an artist who maybe needs support, like a lot of our artists do. Man,
it worked for Deadpool. It should be able to work for this, right?
It should.
Hey, we have one other. Do we have the Geek Beast folks yet, or are we still on hold? If we're on hold, we have one more fan film that we can talk about called Stormtrooper. Tell us
Rodney
about Stormtrooper.
was trying to talk. Oh, okay.
Tell us about Stormtrooper,
Stormtrooper.
Jason.
Oh, mine? Oh, Storm Pooper?
Storm Pooper?
Yeah.
It's a Storm Pooper.
Yeah, Storm Pooper. Yeah, I made that.
Got to be a party pooper.
Yeah, made a little 5-minute short.
Storm
Back in the
Pooper.
day, it's probably I think it was 6 or 7 years ago now at this point. It's basically about a Stormtrooper. It takes place right after Return of the Jedi. He has fled the scene, crash landed on Earth on Valentine's Day, and he runs into a couple and he hates love, and so he tries to break them up and that's basically what that is. It's a 5-minute short that I made literally in 45 minutes in one day. And but it's like the only like fan film that I've made, because a buddy of mine actually was part of the 501st and had an actual Stormtrooper costume and so he's like, hey, if you ever want to make a Stormtrooper movie, and I went, you have a Stormtrooper costume? and
I know like 80 people who have Stormtrooper costumes if you ever need.
Let's form a battalion and have them do our promos.
The whole thing. We'll do every holiday. They'll do Arbor Day and Christmas. But yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on my beyondforever.net page, but it's a 5-minute short. It's stupid. It's fun. And hopefully I'll make the other 2 when I can get people together.
I know at the end it says Storm Pooper will return, and then I was like, is it going to return? And you're like,
And I never did it, and then the world ended, and now I wrote them, but it'll happen again one day. So.
Excellent. Well, if you enjoyed kind of our rundown of these, please check out all of these great fan films. And there are so many others. If you have a fan film that you would like us to feature or talk about, please send it our way. Let us know, and we will check them out and spread the word, right? Because that's what this is. It is our fandom is a conversation. Art is a conversation, and we join in this conversation with all of us because we've got a little lull until our next official media comes out. But we are now at that point of the show where we are finished up with our topics, and we bring on our friends from, all part of our, we form up with the other members of the Geekish Network, and we have Geek Beast. Hello, Geek Beast.
Welcome.
Hey.
Hey guys.
Hey.
We have Summer Chuck and Trey. Hello.
Yo, what's cracking, everybody?
Got another Mountain Time baby, and I feel not so alone.
Yeah. What's up? I'm actually gonna be in your neck of the woods on Wednesday. I'm gonna be like 3 hours deep into the mountains.
Where are you gonna be at? Where are you gonna be?
I don't know just yet. I haven't gotten my location just yet. Doing
for
doing a
sure.
Jeep commercial.
Western Slope. That Western Slope. Riding all those mountain switchbacks.
So how are you guys? What was your what'd you guys do for the weekend? Anything you binge, anything you watch, or anything that's kind of on the top of your mind at the
Summer,
moment?
did you get a haircut? It looks really cute.
I did. Yes. It's very short now. Thank you.
It looks so cute.
Oh, appreciate it.
Okay, as you were, Andy.
Thank you. Well, my weekend was filled with a bunch of debauchery. I was in Vegas this weekend. I used to go for like, a whole weekend, and this time it's just one night was plenty. So no watching of anything. I was.
I hear that. I went through Vegas for one night. I know. Actually, I went through Vegas for one night on the way to California, and then on the way back, I went. I'm just gonna drive through. That's enough.
Yeah.
Man, I have
need to
not
double
been to
tap.
Vegas since 2005 was the last time I've been to Las Vegas, actually.
Yeah,
Star
it's
Trek
a trip.
experience was there?
Nobody wears masks at all, which is fine. I guess most of the country doesn't now. I'm in LA. I'm like in this bubble. Even the rest of my state doesn't wear masks indoors anymore. But LA was like, no, you can keep yours on. So like going into a whole ass world where people were just like breathing everywhere. It was crazy. It was wild. That was
I
wild.
hear that, I hear that, but my grocery store has like 5 cars in the parking lot at all times. So for me, it's a little different. Where I'm like, my numbers game's great, and I don't feel so weird.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I will say that so I am also running COVID compliance for our production here in Los Angeles, and I mean, we just crossed back into condition orange, which is nice to know that we are no longer. Our case numbers have dropped significantly since the
Good job,
spike.
LA.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Good
We're doing something right.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
How about you, Rodney and Trey? What did you guys do this weekend?
Yo, I was up to my neck in Elden Ring. Oh my god, yo, that is my joint. Woo!
Wait, has it premiered?
Nope.
Yeah, it's out.
What
Yo,
do you think?
I put no less than like 15 hours in that bad boy. No less.
La la
Wait.
la 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 la.
Wait,
Don't tell
what,
me. Start into
so-
the 1,000 hours of mastery.
So what is Elden Ring?
It's a new video game out by
From Software.
From Software. Yeah, there we go. It's one of those rage games. Demon. What's the other ones?
Souls
Demon.
games. They call
Yeah.
them Souls
Demon
Dark
games.
Souls, Sekiro.
Yeah. You worked on Sekiro, didn't you?
I did.
Summer?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I think it was
From
so
Software
hard.
game.
Every game from Software is just so difficult. There's never been a game that I've worked on that I didn't actually play to completion, except for Sekiro, because it was just so hard. I could barely get past the tutorial. So, Trey, my question for you is: is it hard? Is it enjoyable, or is it like
hell yeah, it's hard.
Too hard.
It's deliciously
Yeah?
hard. It's fantastically difficult. I enjoyed raging out and damn near throwing my television screen out the damn window. It's so satisfying. I don't need these $70 game sticks. Why? I just bash them on the ground and pull what little hair I have left. Me and my son were actually fighting for time on the sticks. So he dropped like a good 10 hours himself, and I sit there and watch him and watch judgingly. I'm like, rookie Padawan, come under my belt and I'll show you the ways of the dark
Is there a
side.
mode on there that's like the simple mode? Like, do you just want to enjoy this game? Like, because that's what I
They don't do easy.
Bro, they don't
I
do
always like the
easy.
story mode. It's like you just want to coast through. I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do.
No, they don't do
No
that.
story mode for you.
Yeah, From Software doesn't do story mode.
It's no story mode. It's
They're like,
yeah.
you buy our game, more than likely you're not going to beat it. We're okay with that.
Yeah,
It's gaming masochism, It's just,
it really is. It really is.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of people when they first see that
the
first
option
ogre.
right under story mode. Yeah.
Every masochist has to have their platform. Some people prefer whips
Right,
and
yeah.
chains. Some
Yeah.
people
Easy,
prefer like hot
medium,
wax, and some
masochist.
people like video games.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
How about
okay.
you, Chuck?
don't kink shame here.
What took up your weekend?
Dota season 2 took up my weekend.
Oh,
Recovering it for binge worthy, so that took up my weekend.
Right on.
It's so good. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
I watched people play Elden Ring, and I watched them get killed over and over again. That's what I did too. It's like when everybody gets to the first ogre, they're like, it's because it sits on the bridge, and they're like, "What is that? What is that?" They're like, "Nope, nope," because you got archers shooting at you the whole entire time too. You're like, "How do you kill the archers and kill that thing?" All of a sudden, he just jumps down, and you just everybody else takes off running. They're like, "Nope, nope." And he chases you. He chases you apparently.
Yeah, it's dope. It's dope.
I'm reading that I have to be Legolas, just like jump around and fuck things up, and then maybe.
Yeah, well, you can't just jump around because they catch you. The game is prepared for that. They know people like jumping and dodging things. They're like, "Oh no, we're not gonna let you do that."
I highly recommend it if you completely hate yourself. Top notch. Chef's kiss.
What kind of a budget do you have to hate yourself on? So what kind of a budget for self-hatred do you have to buy the game?
I mean, I hate myself for free, you know. I mean,
right?
That's why I'm asking. What do I have to pay to hate myself in my game?
70 is a good start, I guess.
Yeah,
well,
it's a good 70. It's a good 60
so
plus.
I encourage you to stay on, and you can pick up on all the other chatter that they have on Geek Beast. They're going to be running through the news of the day and picking up where we are leaving off right now. But for now, this is the end of Pod Squadron for this week. Stay tuned. Next week we'll be off another week. We're going to be going bi-weekly until May the 4th, when we'll come back to doing weekly as we gear up for the release of the new Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus. So look for us in 2 weeks, and then we want to see all of your Star Wars creations. Do you cosplay? Do you make fan films? Do you build droids? Build models, sell stuff on Etsy. Show us how Star Wars has inspired you, and we just might feature you on the show, or we'll feature your fan film if you'd like us to take a look at it. Also, thank you for joining us here tonight. We're here on the Geekish Network every week at 6:30 p.m. Well, not every week, every other week at 6:30 p.m. Please follow Geekish Network on YouTube and Facebook, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining us here on this night. Also, check out the schedules for all the other great shows, including Geek Beast, which is starting right in a few moments. Thanks on the flight deck to Rodney for running things smoothly over there. And also, this is Pod Squadron. Please check out all of our content on podsquadron.com. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And for podcast subscriptions, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. I am the Chinese Pirate at ChinesePirate_ on all platforms.
I am Tracy Hot Nerd Girl, and Google me, you'll find me.
All right, guys. You can find me on Instagram at Feral Geek Aesthetic. I post things sometimes. It's very geeky, very nerdy, or nerd adjacent and geek adjacent.
And Jason, BeyondForever.net, Beyond Forever Studios, everywhere else, and scene.
And all wings return to base. Course laid in, and prepare to make the jump to lightspeed on my mark. And remember, the truths we cling to depend on your own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night, everybody.